What are some defining characteristics of a man? Is it someone who's strong, someone who's a provider, someone who's a leader, someone who puts he, him pronouns in their email signature? These are all good guesses, but they fall a little bit short. Oh, don't say that. Do not say the word short, because according to the internet, that is the opposite of what a man is. Apparently, if you're below 6 feet tall, you shouldn't exist. And if for some god-awful reason you're also making less than 6 figures a year, you're a scourge on society. You're basically destroying the rest of us by being so short and broke, and really you should exile yourself in order to preserve the rest of the human race. I mean, really, when you think about it, it's like how the ancient Greeks used to take babies and throw them out in the wilderness if they found out they're not able to do 10 pull-ups out the womb. It's basically like a self-cleaning, self-healing mechanism, just to make sure that everybody in society is tall enough to grab an item off the top shelf of the grocery store. It makes sense if you don't think about it. But it seems like Prometheus has given mankind a gift to combat this curse that the gods have put on some mankind. And that gift would be something called limb lengthening surgery, which is pretty much what it sounds like. A doctor will do surgery, break a part of your leg, insert a mechanical piece, and once you're done with the post-op, you heal up a little bit. You then go to the doctor's office, use a magnetic device to separate this metal piece further in your leg. And what this does is that it slowly increases a break in your bone and creates a gap. And eventually you get to a certain point where you stop increasing the gap. The bone is then going to heal around this gap. You eventually remove this metal piece, and believe it or not, some people rinse and repeat. They do a little bit more. They go back to the well for a little bit more youth. And that's pretty much it. It's a happy story. You get surgery, you get taller. That's it, the end, happily ever after. No, not really. The picture is not that clear. Basically, before you even get to the surgery room, you need to have fat stacks. You need to have crazy money. And that's kind of hard if you're in the first category of someone who's below 6 feet and making less than 6 figures, because now you basically are doomed to be short forever. Because just to do this surgery once, you need anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. Like, you just need 50 to 100K sitting around, you dropping racks, like, you know what, I feel like I want to be shorter today. Here's 100K, doctor. Take 6 months of my life away. That's another part of this equation. This is major surgery. You are breaking your bones in your leg, and not only are you breaking bones in your leg, you're going to be breaking the bone even further over course of time, so you can't even start to rehabilitate until you're done breaking your bone. So every day, every week, you're going to be increasing this gap, and during that time period, you're in a wheelchair. You cannot walk, period, because you are breaking that bone. You are unnaturally manipulating the bone. And once you finally get to the point where you stop manipulating the bone, and it seems like the bone's starting to heal, okay, I bet. Now you can graduate to being on a walker. And what's crazy is that some of these people are so deluded and so into it that they actually have a euphoric moment where they're walking with a walker as if they're 96 years old, but are so happy and so proud because they think that they're taller. Granted, they are a little bit taller, but it's like, dude, you're literally holding onto a walker. You're slumped over holding onto a walker. You would look taller if you just had good posture, my dude. And like, there's a video I found of some guy online where he's talking to his wife and saying how happy he is that he's finally able to stand up and show how tall he is. And even has some nice music playing in the background. It's cuffing season and all the boys are getting surgery to be 2 inches taller, 2 inches taller. And this was definitely worth it. 6 months in Turkey just to come back and have my wife be so happy. Despite the fact that this guy was already a king. It's like, dude, you already have a kingdom. You're already great. You literally spent 6 months overseas for this. Now, this guy has a bunch of videos on his Instagram. He's basically showing his process going through the limb lengthening surgery. And what's crazy about this case, as well as some other cases that I saw, it really shows the mental piece of this all. Because at the end of the day, whether you're 4 feet, 5 feet, you want to be taller, it's not really something that you need. It's not a necessity. There's never been a time and place where you need to be 5 feet tall in order to get somewhere, unless it's going on a roller coaster. And it's literally just for your own ego and just for your own self-esteem. And it's even more clear with people like this dude, where he says that once I'm done with this surgery process, I'll be 6 feet 6 inches. It's like, my guy, how tall do you want to be? Does bro want to join the league? Does he want to be like Yao Ming? 6 feet 6 inches? Bro, you really out here on some fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman shit. Like, how big do you want to be? This dude said 6 feet 6 inches as if that's something small, as if to say this is part 1 of the saga. Can't wait until I hit 7 feet. At what time is he going to be happy? And again, this is not a simple process. This is not like you eventually become normal. best case scenario is that you get to the point where you're limping and walking stiff because you literally are unnecessarily lengthening your bone. Your veins now need to stretch. Your muscle needs to stretch. Your whole body looking at you like, what are you doing? What is this guy doing? Dude is literally taking his leg and stretching it out as if it's a Looney Tunes cartoon, as if this guy is Gumby just to look a little bit taller. And you are getting no benefits. You're getting everything that's negative. You are now getting old man arthritis knees when you don't need to do that. It's not like you're going to become taller and be great at basketball, be able to run a 4.4 40. Bro, one bad tackle, one bad step, one bad fall, you're going to fall apart like a Jenga tower. There's no way your legs aren't easily breakable when you have sheetrock replacements in places where bone used to be. Like, it's insane that people go to these lengths just to validate themselves in their view of what other people think. Like, these guys really think that there's people out there who view them as being short losers, and that because they're short, they are losers, and that they need to be taller in order to be validated. But if you were to look at it in such literals where you think other people are so shallow to judge you for being short, wouldn't they also think that you're weird because you have long legs? Like, seriously, you are taking your leg and lengthening it to the point that it looks weird. You're basically looking like the man with the yellow hat from Curious George. You got long ass legs. You are daddy long legs himself. You have a normal torso, normal arms, normal head, and then crazy long legs. But that's not really the case. People aren't judging you that critically. They're not looking at the shape of your body to the absolute centimeter to see whether you're below or above 6 feet. It's a silly internet meme and something that some dudes take so seriously that they're willing to surgically modify themselves, take months off of work, and potentially lose a job because unless you work from home, you're not going to be able to work for a period of time. And I think it's something that is completely mental as opposed to having anything to do with physical. As a matter of fact, one of these guys that did this was super buff, super ripped, and because he took 6 months off of legs, he now has to rebuild his leg muscles and the bottom part of his body, which if you like building yourself, sculpting yourself, that's fine, but it was a really unnecessary surgery and something he didn't need to do. And the only thing that may have improved is his mental health, and if that is the case, if this is what you needed to do to feel normal, then I guess fine. It's technically not illegal. It's technically not the worst thing in the world. I think it's goofy. I think it's silly. I think it's something that if you were to literally just think about it, you wouldn't need it. But at the end of the day, I don't have 100K stashed on the side ready for leg surgery, so maybe I'm just hating.
Could give a short answer, like I want it to be taller, have longer legs, and that's definitely true. But to give more context, that year I was depressed. I wasn't enjoying things that I normally loved, like lifting. I was going to the gym still. I'd still even post like my mediocre lifts and everything, but then I'd come home and I'd really grind it out, and I'd be making real progress. I mean, I was lifting crazy weight compared to anything that I'd ever done, and I didn't care enough to like film it, let alone post it, let alone just like tell anyone. I just didn't care, and that's when I realized something was wrong. My body was getting bigger, leaner, and I didn't like it. Like something's up, and thought, therapy, bad experience, not so great, not very helpful. That's just my opinion. Then I thought, new hobby, none that appealing. Jokingly, I said, if my legs were longer, I'd probably like how it looked more. Then I learned that was a real option, and I realized if I did that, then I'd probably have to relearn how to squat, how to deadlift, how to do everything. And that actually sounded appealing. And I went down that rabbit hole and decided against better judgment that's the route that I was going to go. Am I an idiot? Yeah, sure. I'll take that. But hey, that's what I did.
At the end of every single video, make sure you ask people to rate and subscribe to your content. It makes them feel like they're involved even though they're really not. And most importantly, make sure they comment on every single video. If you have to, disguise it. Call it something like the question of the day. And really make them think you're gonna really read it when you really don't have to. Ha ha ha!